Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we're diving into RBB Bancorp's latest filing, and let me tell you, it's like watching a corporate election unfold. Spoiler alert, some familiar faces are sticking around, but let's see if it's all good news. If you appreciate getting straight insights from corporate documents, make sure you're subscribed. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below to discuss it all in even more details. RBB Bancorp just released a report about their annual meeting, basically a yearly checkup, where shareholders get to vote on important stuff. Think of it as a popularity contest, but for board members and company decisions. This report tells us who won, what got approved, and gives us a peek into what's happening behind the scenes at RBB Bancorp. The main event was on May 21, 2025. This is when RBB Bancorp held its yearly get-together with its shareholders. At this meeting, they voted on who gets to sit on the board of directors, how the top dogs get paid, and who gets to be the company's official number cruncher or auditor. First up, the election. Shareholders voted to keep William Bennett, Robert Franco, Christina Cao, James Cao, Johnny Lee, Joyce Wong Lee, Christopher Lin, David Morris, Geraldine Panu, Scott Polikoff, and Frank Wong on the board of directors. These are the folks steering the ship, so keeping them around suggests the shareholders are happy with the current direction. Next, there was a vote on how much the top executives get paid. It's like asking the class if the teacher deserves a raise. The shareholders gave a thumbs up to the compensation plan, but keep in mind it's just an advisory vote, meaning the company doesn't absolutely have to listen to the shareholders. Lastly, they ratified the appointment of Crowe L as the company's independent auditor. Crowe L is basically the company's scorekeeper, making sure all the numbers add up. By voting yes, the shareholders are saying they trust Crowe to keep things honest. So who got to vote? Well, back on March 24, 2025, the company counted up all the shares of stock and figured out that there were about 17.7 million shares out there that could be voted. During the annual meeting, people holding a bit more than 11.2 million shares got involved, either showing up in person, tuning in, online, calling in, or sending in their votes ahead of time. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty of the votes. First, those 11 board member nominees were elected. We've got the votes for each candidate. For William Bennett, they got roughly 9 million for votes, with about 30,000 withheld and around 2.1 million broker non-votes. Broker non-votes happen when brokers holding shares for clients don't get instructions on how to vote, so they just skip that vote. Robert Franco received about 8.87 million votes with about 253,000 withheld and again about 2.1 million broker non-votes. Christina Cao received around 8.85 million votes for about 271,000 withheld and the familiar 2.1 million broker non-votes. James Cao got around 9 million votes with about 114,000 withheld and the same 2.1 million broker non-votes. Joyce Wong Lee ended up with about 8.85 million votes for about 271,000 withheld and the usual 2.1 million broker non-votes. Christopher Lin got around 8.9 million votes with about 218,000 withheld and, you guessed it, 2.1 million broker non-votes. Geraldine Panu got around 8.9 million votes with about 210,000 votes withheld and the same 2.1 million broker non-votes. Frank Wong received approximately 9 million votes with around 99,000 withheld. And you guessed it, 2.1 million broker non-votes. Moving on to the vote about the executive compensation. This is always a hot topic. About 8.8 million people voted in favor of the pay packages, while about 304,000 voted against it. There were also around 23,000 abstentions and again the 2.1 million broker non-votes. Finally, let's talk about the appointment of the auditor Crowe L. This one's usually pretty straightforward. The appointment of Crowe L was handily ratified with about 11 million votes for, around 4,000 against, and just 5,000 abstaining. That's a pretty strong vote of confidence in Crowe's ability to keep the books in order. And that's a wrap. The filing was officially signed off by Lynn Hopkins, EVP and Chief Financial Officer. So the key takeaways are that the current board is sticking around, the executive pay got the thumbs up, and the auditor is staying put. Now, let's zoom out a bit and look at the bigger picture. It seems like RBB Bancorp's shareholders are largely content with the way things are going. Keeping the same board members suggests a level of trust in their leadership. Since the executive pay was approved, there may be confidence in management's performance. The company appears to be maintaining a steady course. However, those broken non-votes are worth noting. Although it did not affect the vote outcomes this time, they represent shares that didn't actively participate in the decision-making process. It might be a sign that some shareholders aren't fully engaged or that there are issues with getting voting instructions to everyone. So there you have it, RBB Bancorp's annual meeting wrapped up with a vote of confidence in the existing leadership and practices. It'll be interesting to see how these decisions play out in the coming year and whether the company can continue to deliver results that keep its shareholders happy. Alright, that's our breakdown of RBB Bancorp's latest filing. What's your take on these votes and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.